Of leading former players have been talking to FIFA's Chief of Global Football Development, Arsene Wenger, about major changes to the international match calendar. Wenger leading consultation on whether holding men's and women's World Cups every 2 years is a good way to go. FIFA and UEFA both say that too much football is being played. However, the two governing bodies have different views, obviously, on how they should address the situation. Listen to this. Darren Gough on talkSPORT Drive giving his thoughts.
I'd love to do it. If you look into it, though, what they're also trying to do is cut down the international breaks. Wenger's proposed 2 international breaks, which will be March and October, so clubs would be happier. The thing is they won't be happy with the after a tournament, they've got to have the 25 customary rest, 25 days rest before they go back to playing competitive football. You already looked at 2026 World Cup. There's going to be 48 nations playing in it. So the next one after that could be the first one that's every 2 years. I don't have a problem with it. If you look at the Ashes, that's every 2 years. That's a huge sporting event.
We searched high, we searched low, and talkSPORT found somebody for it. A World Cup every 2 years. Step forward, Mr. Darren Gough. Danny, where do you want to start on this
The
one?
Ashes is not the World Cup. It's 2 teams. That's it. It's not, 64 teams in the World Cup? 64 games, 32 teams, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's going to be 48 from 2026.
Come on, Gough. You cannot compare the Ashes to the World Cup in football. Really? No.
2 years.
Right,
a World Cup every 2 years.
Let's look at the potential positives of this. And when you drill down into the detail, which there isn't a lot of, I have to say, I'm assuming that the theory would be that from the previous tournament, if you finish, let's say they're going to be groups of 4 teams, we're assuming. If you finish in the top 2, you don't have to qualify for the next tournament. Mm-hmm. So that takes out a lot of games. So the bigger team, the teams that do better, automatically into the next one. So that sort of brings you into a Nations League sort of scenario where you've got Andorra, Liechtenstein, San Marino playing against each other to see who gets into the World Cup proper, as it were. I think that's a good thing because these teams at the moment are still setting up to keep the score down. They're not going to have to win games. They probably don't, a lot of them don't know how to win football matches. It's how many do we not get beat by? Can we be very, very organised? Can we be very, very defensive? And can we be very, very dull? And let's make it a rubbish football match. If they start to play against each other, like the Nations League, they do, they start to learn how to win, and they improve in that way. So that's one plus side. The worry is, every 2 years, does it become a little bit European Super League, where you've just got too much of a good thing? The best playing against the best all the time. The whole point of the World Cup is it's special. It doesn't happen that often. You don't play Argentina or Brazil. Yeah, you don't play them that often. You have the Euros. Everyone has their own competition. You've got African Cup of Nations. You've got South American tournaments. You've got Asian Cups. You've got every continent has its own tournament. Within that we have the Euros already.
They'll still find time for that though.
But then what you're going to have is you're going to have players that are basically playing for 51 weeks of the year, and that will lead to burnout. That will lead to a lack of quality. Because the teams that are playing in the Champions League and Europa League, they're the internationals. They're going to be playing in international teams. So these players are going to end up probably playing 3 years straight with maybe a week or 2 off maximum. That means they're going to be burnt out.
Fewer international breaks, fewer qualifiers, fewer games with very little riding on them or results already decided.
But there's not. Because at the moment...
There's got to be a better way of going about it than this, isn't there?
Well, yeah, but that's not how... So if you have a World Cup, you're still going to have friendlies. You're still going to have... Some teams are still going to have to qualify within that. So at the moment, how many tournaments do you have... How many games do you play internationally a season? 7?
Yeah.
So you have a World Cup, you get to a semi-final, that's 6. The following season, you get to the Euros, and you've got to go through qualification, and as a Nations League. How many games is that you're playing internationally? That's a lot. Mm-hmm. Season after that, you've got another World Cup. You've got another 7 games minimum.
The argument of player welfare and protecting players is rubbish, isn't it?
You've got 15 games in the Champions League, 15 games, because you're expecting these teams to get to the latter stages, of tournaments. So you've got 38 Premier League games. You then probably got 14 maybe in the Champions League. You then got internationals. When are these players going to get a break? These players are working, and I know people are going to throw at me, oh, they're overpaid footballers, they should be able to work every day. Well, no, they can't. That's the problem.
I don't know who that was.
Well, pretty much most people always throw the money equation into it. You can't expect these players to play for 50 weeks of the year, flat out, at the very, very best. No other sport on the planet does that. It's simply impossible to be at your physical peak for that length of time, physically and mentally. So you're going to end up with a huge drop-off in the quality that we're watching. And nobody wants that. We moan about it now that players are tired going into a World Cup. If that's every 2 years, that's going to be worse.
Is it always going, Danny, if the finances work for the countries, for FIFA, for UEFA, for the FAs, let's be honest, it's what makes the world go round. If the finances stand up, is this going to happen? Or are they going to find a way to play more major tournaments?
What's going to happen when players start needing more time off? They start getting injured because of these international tournaments.
What are the players going to say?
Well, no, they're going to want to go, but the club's going to go, hang on a minute, we're now going to be...
Are players going to want to wait 8 years for a World Cup?
Why 8 years?
You get injured, you might have to wait 8 years for another opportunity.
Olympics is the same. It's always been that way. Why change it? There's a Euros. That's what the Euros in there for, every 2 years. Tournament football is special, and it has to remain at the peak of that. If you're watching a World Cup or Euros every year, it will become bland, and it will become, just another tournament. A fan's going to want to travel every single time, every single summer.
Fans are going to love it, aren't they?
I don't think they will after a while. You'll do 2 or 3, and then you'll go, you know what? I'm not sure this is that great. So every single... You have to travel to a Euros, which as the new model is, it could be in several different countries. You then got to go to a World Cup. You then got to go to Nations League. You then got to go to another World Cup.
Well, they can sack off the Nations League, can't they?
But that's hitting fans in the pocket again, making them travel all over the globe. That's another issue because it's not going to be in Europe every year, is it? It's not going to be easy for those big teams. It'll be South America, then it'll be Australia, then it'll be India, then it'll be wherever. So there's that issue for fans that are going to have to be able to travel and go to those sort of things. But the players are going to... You're going to exhaust the players.
And the tennis players play 50 weeks a year.
But they don't play every tournament.
The good ones do.
They don't. They do not.
The good players do.
They do not play every single tournament.
When's the last tournament that Novak Djokovic missed?
Well, okay, go through it then and tell me how many days he's played. Tell me how many tournaments he's played this year.
I bet he's had fewer days off this year than your
it will
average Premier League player.
It will not be 70 games that the England players have played this season.